Hey, what's going on, coaches? Coach Eric, Coach Mark here, coachestrainingroom.com. It's Monday, 5 p.m. Thanks for joining us. We're so happy you're here. And it has been beautiful here in Michigan. Just been outside swimming, have some family in town from New Jersey. So we are it's fun to see some people finally, some family members finally, and see some people in person. So it's been great. Our topic today we're really excited about is running successful tryouts. And again, my name's Coach Eric. If you haven't been live with us before, I'm a personal trainer, group trainer, and team coach as well, and just love it. I played all growing up since I was 4 and got first team All-State in high school, played club at Michigan State, just love the sport, and then now enjoy teaching others to have fun with it and do the best they can in sport in their own growth and education. So, and then teamed up with Coach Mark, my partner in Coach's Training Room, and we just had a blast ever since. I think it's been about almost 8 years or so right now since we started Coach's Training Room. So we appreciate it. We like where it's been going and listening to your feedback and creating programs that benefit you coaches, make your lives easier, but then also challenge you to get yourself to the next level as a coach, and then your teams, of course, and players to the next level. So how you doing, Coach Mark, in the UK over there? How's things?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm actually part of a fairly small local lockdown, sadly at the minute. So, yeah, the Greater Manchester area has been put on a restriction due to virus, so it's a little bit of a backward step. But yeah, good spirits. It's given me opportunity to work on some new projects that we've got going on. Just to reintroduce myself, or for anybody who is here for the first time, my name is Mark. I work with Coach Eric as part of Coach's Training Room, and it's been something that has been it's kind of grown from strength to strength for us for a number of years. My background has been coaching for the last sort of about 10 years now, and it did take me from England to the States, where I was working a lot of my time as a coach. Mentor, coach, educator for different clubs, different regions, and for the American Youth Soccer Organization as well. So part of what Eric and I are doing is really kind of filling a bit of a gap. We realized that it's time consuming as a coach getting all these practices together. So we listen to what you're doing. We appreciate that there is no one perfect way of doing things, but what we're trying to do is fit in as kind of your virtual assistant coach, if you like, helping with the session plans, helping it make sense, and helping save you time and really make the most of the practice sessions that you get. Maybe it's only an hour and a half a week, possibly a couple of hours. So it is worth making the most of the field time that you have. Yeah, we're obviously excited to come on live and just talk through some stuff. Maybe get some questions on. If we do get questions live, we always we do our best to answer them. And Eric, if you're okay, I'll go ahead and dive straight into today's topic, if you like. I'm just trying to get the video up at the side of me now.
So. Oh, sure. Yeah, those of you that are watching live, you can see that I posted in the comments. Please share where you're watching from, what age you coach, and any questions that you have as we go through a giant topic, because every coach has to run tryouts typically. So there's a lot that goes into tryouts, depending on how big your club is, for instance, how big your high school is. I know we got different levels of coaches here: club, high school, youth, younger age, youth, toddler. So we're open to any questions you have. We're going to kind of go through the main topics here on running successful tryouts. And the reason we picked this topic at this time is because a lot of tryouts are going on right now. A lot of the kids I train, they have tryouts this week. You may have had them already, or you may not have had them, but we know that, either way, it'll help you for this season or next season. And please let us know any questions in the comments, and we look forward to hearing from you as we go through today's topic. Again, running successful tryouts. We're going to pinpoint kind of the main topics that you want to cover during tryouts, some tips, and just some suggestions on what will help run those runs smoothly. All right, rock and roll.
Okay. So you're gonna have to scale my answer back to make sure it applies to the club, the area that you're working with, because I'm pulling a little bit on experience, a little bit from questions asked, and a little bit from the way I've run tryouts in the past. I've assisted with many tryouts in kind of an organizational sense, and from that, I've seen a lot of ways that people want to work tryouts. Some great, some who are open to ideas for improvement. So I'm kind of pooling on a little bit of personal experience as well, and then taking ideas from others that I've seen go really successfully. So if yours is on a much smaller scale, it might be that you're just a club trying to select from a fairly small pool of players. Some of my answers would be scaled up a little bit. So you might be trying to take an area, a big pool of players, and put them into the right sort of teams. So one thing that is important is uniformity of what you're actually looking for. So that could be the coach, yourself, club directors. If you're helping out, you might fall under the umbrella of a U10. We'll just say U10 for argument's sake here, a U10 coach, and there are going to be, I don't know, 6 teams of U10 coaches. You're going to pick up one of those teams, and they're going to be fairly competitively ranked, but also they're trying to balance it so that you might not have one A team. You might have a series of that are all development teams, and you're trying to build them all up through the season. So fall season, which, believe it or not, is going to be upon us very soon. The fall season is a chance to play both. For some areas, it's travel and recreational seasons side by side. So you might have players that are playing in 2 teams, but uniformity of what the directors of coaching or yourself as a coach is looking for, and making sure that is actually relayed to the people who are going to be helping you out, and also to the players who are going to be trying out. What are you looking for from them to help them get into the team? So the criteria could be, I see coaches, I know it's something that the England youth setup was based around. It was kind of, okay, height, strength, power at certain age groups, and yes, it's good for winning games. Again, if a player is much more, around that sort of puberty age, boys especially, just kind of they can grow so much in a year, and a couple of players grow 6 months later, a year later, whatever it'll be. So there is that imbalance sometimes in strength, height, etc., and somebody with a longer stride, or who is athletic and with longer legs is typically going to be able to run a little bit quicker. So if you were to just look at those attributes, that might be great for a team right now, but is that in keeping with the longer term development plan of the club? Are you trying to build something, and that those things might be great for winning a couple of games in that particular season, but are they taking you into that long term plan that you've got? So criteria could be as follows. It could be things like game intelligence. Balance is something that I always look out for. How much are players looking around? Are they aware of their surroundings? Do they know the field? Do they know the teammates? These things here could be picked up on a fairly quiet person who's not making all the noise during the practice or directing players on the field, but they're things that stand out to me as a coach. Okay, how's their balance? How's their first touch? Because if they've got certain things already, then there's really coachable. Some of those attributes are the foundational building blocks for me for some of the coachable attributes for the season as it goes on. It could be desire, for example. If you're interested in the Champions League, Atletico Madrid, Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid play a certain way, and it is all based around obviously there's a lot of skill that's going into it, but they're just dogged in their approach, and they'll run, and that is what he bases his team around. It's just this intense movement off the ball, very, very intense. And it's not for everybody. It's not for every player to play in that particular system. So he, as a coach, is looking for that in his recruitment. These are the things I'm looking for for me as a coach. He's happy with himself as a coach. He knows what the style he plays, and that is something that you might look for as well. Do they have the desire? Are they prepared to run? Are they prepared to chase a lost cause? These sort of things might be the criteria. So you have to decide as the club, as the coach of the club or the director of coaching of the club as a whole, what you're building towards and what attributes actually complement what you're building towards. And that again needs to be relayed to coaches. And one thing I would stress is getting as much coach assistance as you possibly can, coach assistance, and also parent help as well. You could create a score sheet that ranks certain attributes on a 1 to 5 scale. If you've got 10 people ranking the same set of players for the same set of attributes, and you're able to collate those pieces of paper together afterwards, you're going to get a fairly balanced and reasoned view, providing everyone that you've picked is understanding what they're looking for in these certain situations, because that removes any agenda from selection and marking, if you can get that sort of help. So again, that just feeds back into what I say when I say pick your criteria, and make sure that's relayed to everyone who's involved. I'm just going to...
Coach Mark, it seems like a lot of the teams seem to do small-sided game or keep away type during tryouts.
Yeah.
So is that because it's the quickest way to see the overall skills in the players? And then also some of my players are saying about conditioning being, they're having conditioning in the morning and then tryouts later in that same day, evening. But I think that's because of, and that's high school, so that could be because of the time frame that they have to test and see the physical side and the technique and play side.
Okay, yeah. So with the small-sided stuff, absolutely, you're right. It's about maximizing touches on the ball so that you're getting the game time. If you can see how players are able in a match, you get that sense of awareness. Do they know their position? Are they able to get a foot on the ball? Are they able to dictate the play? Definitely, it's one of the quickest ways to test the game intelligence, so on and so forth. But I do think it's important to have a balance with that as well. So if you were looking at maybe I don't know, let's say we could push, in an ideal world, we could push the tryouts to 2 hours with plenty of breaks and rotations between sessions. Sometimes what you'll find is players don't practice how they play and players don't play how they practice. So you could have somebody who in a match situation in a 3v3 just completely goes inside themselves and doesn't play the way that you've seen them play previously. And it could happen in a game as well. Sometimes it's just a confidence thing, a mindset thing. It could just be a particular phase that players are going through. So I think it's important to have the balance of some session work that is based on repetition of certain skills that you want to test, but then important to put them in a game situation as well, because then you can see how they're performing. But also if there is the opportunity to run a second round of tryouts, because it can be a daunting experience. And I suppose the idea with tryouts is that we're not looking to overcoach these situations. So if you're setting up a session, you want to be able to explain it in a minute and just let them run. You don't want to be, okay, well, this should have been how we should do it. We're not really, there's not a time to coach the session. If you're talking about passing, you're talking about passing on a post and then build up in increments. If you want to add a little bit of competition in there just to speed it up a little bit, then add a defender, but keep it so that the main objective of passing can be achieved without too much stress or explanation, because you're going to have maybe a 10-minute window to get something done before they're rotating through stations. So yeah, I definitely agree that small-sided games are crucial. Absolutely, it's good to get them in that game situation to see how players work, but also just because a player doesn't perform in a particular game, but they have an incredible skill set, that's something that a coach might look at and think, well, actually, that's very coachable. I can work with the skills that they've got. They might not be performing in this game. They might not perform for another 6 weeks, but I will work with them and I'll get them to translate those skills that they've got, which maybe outweigh someone who is just super confident in games and understands it. You might see something in that particular player that says, well, I'm prepared to work with that for a couple of seasons. And I believe that they'll be at this point under my tutelage and under my guidance. So worth considering as well, definitely.
Yeah, and going back to your point on making sure you're prepared and have assistants in place to handle and see everybody, because you don't always know how many kids. You can get an idea, but how many kids are actually going to show up on that day of tryouts, how many you're going to have. And one kid I'm coaching, it's a high school team, and they got supposedly about 80 kids coming out just for one of the teams. 80 kids coming out for tryouts, and they're going to keep maybe 22, 25 possibly. But yeah, that's a lot of kids to try to watch and analyze. So having several assistants or coaches out there with you, and making sure you get a fair evaluation of everybody, obviously, and be able to make the right choices is essential. Make sure you're prepared ahead of time.
Yeah, because if you're looking at 80 players, which frequently happens, if it's the area that you're in doesn't have a wealth of teams, it could be that there's a lot of people trying out for it. If you're talking about the way the session might look, you might have 4 or 5 stations of activity, one based around passing, control, some shooting circuits, small-sided stuff, ideas for like footwork based things. And if you've got those stations there, you as the kind of the coach who's going to, you want to be picking out these players yourself, you're going to be roaming a lot of the time, but to catch every single group on every single station is nigh on impossible. So you're going to need those extra sets of eyes who have got the same who bought into your ideas, who are going to score it accordingly, so that people that you can trust to do so. But then also people who are just there to help out, because it's great to get other people's opinions on things and see how it actually ties into what you're looking at. Because if you are and we've all been there, we know, if you see a group of, I don't know, let's say you got high school players turning up and you've coached a few of them before, you already know in your head which ones have got who are particularly gifted, and you don't necessarily need to pay too much attention to what they're going to be doing. You will, but you know how they can perform. So in your head, you're already ticking certain boxes, and that's not always the fairest way to judge the tryout as an entity. So it is great to get extra people in who don't necessarily know the players, and if they're scoring accordingly and it's matching, then great. But you still want your star players to perform in the tryouts, because their place is just as much up for grabs as anyone else's in a fair and balanced tryout. And obviously the discussions, if you can get 2 rounds of tryouts in, that's ideal, because again, you might have, if you just ran it once, you're going to get a player who comes off the field thinking, I did terribly, I didn't perform how I wanted to perform, I just the occasion got the better of me. Whereas if they know that there's 2, sometimes it puts players a little bit more at ease. If there's one week and then you run very similar sessions the following week, just to kind of rescore, again, that's peace of mind for yourself as a coach, that the scores kind of match up one week to another. I'm happy with what's come in. Also, it gives the coaches the opportunity to watch 1 or 2 maybes a little bit closer, because like you say there, in 80 people trying out for a team of 22, for a squad of 22, then there are going to be probably 10 to 15 players who are right on the cusp, who are like, well, on a different day, if they'd have, it could just be a little a little one or two things like that in a super competitive tryout that you've that one of your players is going into there. That's the difference, is that. So if you can run it twice, at least you have the opportunity to say, look, from our lists that we've created, we've got these players here. We've got 7 who are, well, let's say we've got 15 who are dead certs, and we've got 7 players who are, or 7 spaces available for possibly another 20 players. So how are we going to whittle these down? Because they're all similarly gifted. We need to be paying more attention to these players at this point. So you at that point, you're able to kind of hand pick it a little bit more. If you've already got that first one under your belt, you can say, okay, well, these are the players who are they don't know that they're the ones competing for these 7 places, but can we put them in little teams here, and can we see how, are there any standouts from within this group that we can kind of manufacture situations because of, can we get these 15 players in 2 small-sided games side by side, and then we can get 3 or 4 coaches around there, and we see who jumps out, if anybody jumps out there. So it just gives you as a coach the opportunity, but also those players who may not have felt the pressure of a 90-minute tryout too much for them, gives them the opportunity to breathe a little bit, relax into it. They understand the format, and they can do it again the next week if it didn't quite go as planned the first time.
Great, yeah. And just to mention, we do have a couple articles on running a successful training or tryout. Sorry, running a successful trial. I'll share those links in the comments so you can check those out later on. Once we end here, I'll put those in the comments. So make sure you check those out on the website. There's some resources and tips there as well. In addition, so there's more tips than what we cover in here live today. So any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. We do have Coach Sammy on, Coach Fennick. We got Coach Jerry. Thanks for joining us, coaches. Thanks for saying hi in the comments. I know a lot of you are being shy and not commenting, but we still welcome you. Thanks for joining us live. And I hope it's been safe and okay where you're at in the world. And I hope you're doing great.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's more or less everything that I wanted to cover, Eric. I realize it's a big topic, and I'm trying to summarize as best I can. If anyone's got any questions with regards to, or even just a comment on how they've seen tryouts go, because from experience, some tryouts can be very, very politicized, and it can be quite challenging. It can also be a very, very it can throw up a few surprises. You do get clubs that seem so familiar with the players that the team almost picks itself. But a tryout situation can give you a certain surprise. If you do have the 80 players that turn up and you're trying to form one team, I've seen it before where coaches have turned around and said, okay, well, we can form a perfectly good and strong B team here. We just need coaches. We need, a little bit of organization, but that can be done. So sometimes it can, it's a nice problem to have when you get a lot of players trying out. It can be daunting, absolutely, to see that many players on the field and make sure that you're giving everybody the fair opportunity. But also it can be it can throw up some happy little corrections whereby you can create more teams, and then you've got more competition for A's and B's next time round, and so on, so forth. It grows, you get stronger, you can play the A against the B mid-season as well to test. You can change up the teams a little bit, chop and change here and there. So it can throw up these exciting little challenges for sure. But nothing really more to add from myself. It'd be interesting to get people's feedback as to how tryouts have gone for them. See if there's anything that you might do a little bit differently to what we're suggesting here. And we're by no means saying that this is the perfect way to do things. It's all about having a little bit of a pragmatic approach to what your availability is like. It might not be, I'm talking about the luxury of 80 players and the field space to accommodate 80 players with stations set up, 5 stations round, enough parent help. It might be that you've been left to it and you've got 3 people helping you and you've got 80 players to manage, which is chaotic even with the best planning in the world, but it does happen. So be interesting to get people's feedback or own experience regards to that.
Yeah, and also let us know if you have run tryouts already or are running tryouts coming up this week or coming up in the near future here. Depending on your location, I know it could be different. It could be shut down right now, nothing's happening maybe right now, but we'd love to hear what's going on in your area of the world. So let us know. Yeah, so Coach Sammy says under 16-year-old physical test recommended. Okay, so
just can't get the comments up here. I'm just
looking at
technical issues.
But a lot of them also do a timed 2 mile sometimes for the trials. They have to make it under time.
Yeah, I mean, the fitness can be. I mean, ultimately, it goes back into that kind of the desire from players. Yes, fitness is crucial. Now, is it always? I don't know how keen I would be to judge. I mean, there has to be a baseline physical test, but I wouldn't necessarily rule someone out based on their results from the physical test, because that is all, you know, if there's the desire there and the ability to improve, if you're given a pre-season, you can set goals, but that's something you can have a discussion with the player at certain points. So yeah, it's good to have a baseline check, but I certainly wouldn't be using that as my gauge for how I'm going to select my team, because ultimately in the game, I hate to sound cliche, a little bit cheesy, but it's known that the ball travels faster than a player. So if you know, you can move the ball around, if you're intelligent, then you can move that quicker player around the field, and they won't be able to lay a glove on you, so to speak. So yeah, I would definitely use it as a baseline, but I wouldn't be judging my scores, or I wouldn't really have it as a rateable score.
Great. So to round off today's live, we have a great package that is social distance friendly. It's our core passing pack. We are going to have another brand new one coming out very, very soon. So keep an eye out for that on our social media accounts, especially our Facebook page, which we're most engaged on. And then we are on Instagram. Keep an eye on your email. If you're not subscribed, just go to coachestrainingroom.com. You'll be able to opt in and get some free sessions there. If you do not haven't entered your name and email to be on our email list. So we got a lot of great resources. But going back to that core passing pack, that is one of our most popular session packages that has the social distancing in place already. And we are, like I said, coming out with a brand new package very, very soon that will be social distance friendly as well. So you can make sure everybody's being safe and also improving their skills and getting the most out of every single session and activity. So we're just wrapping that up, getting that together. Coach Mark and myself organizing it. We're about over 50% of the way there. So keep an eye out for that. We're really, really excited about this package. But in the meantime, you can check out the core passing pack. It's only $10, unlimited access anytime, lifetime access. And that link I'll put in the comments. It's easy to get to, coachestrainingroom.com/core, CORE. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in now. And Mark, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the new package a little bit more, touch on that.
Yeah, I was just really going to add that, you know, we're very, very excited to get it together. We've lost weeks of our lives collectively trying to put all this together in a really considered way for not only the time that we're in, perhaps just making sure that things are a little bit considered to how we are currently, but making sure that it's something that is relatable and scalable. So it's about recreating game realism And the idea is with all of the sessions in there, you can do them within social distancing constraints, but then also within sort of 95% social distancing constraints, but then also you can take them away, and you can build in things like verticality of getting the ball from front to from the defensive line and making those key passes into key areas in a really considered, conditioned way. So we're really excited about what we've put together. It's as I say, we've spent weeks of our lives in the lockdown putting it together, and missed a great deal of sunshine as well. So we're excited to get it live.
Awesome. Yeah, we're really pumped about that. So keep an eye out in your email inbox and on social media, like I said, for that link for when we launch that special package. And in the meantime, you can check out the core passing pack if you do not have it yet. Coaches have been loving that. We've had that out for quite a while now, but we've had such great feedback that I do share that link quite often, because it is a minimal amount for a great amount of sessions inside that core passing pack. So check that out. It is a 4-week passing session plan with a bunch of bonus activities in there as well, and downloadable resources. So check it out. If you do not have the core passing pack, I put the link in the comments here. I'm going to go ahead and pin it right now too, so it's highlighted. But it's coachestraining.com/core, CORE, and it'll take you to the link. All you do is put in your name, email, payment, and you're all set to go. So you'll get emailed a link, you log in and check out all the activities within the core passing pack, along with the bonuses as well. And keep an eye out on our brand new session pack coming up. But this is a good lead in. If you don't have the core, I would get that core passing pack first. And then when this comes out, it will be brand new activities that you can go ahead and integrate in with the core passing pack. And like Coach Mark said, mix and match and make your own session plans out of them. So we're so happy you joined us today. Thanks for sharing in the comments. Again, we check all the comments. So if you're watching the replay, go ahead and put your comment in there as well, and we will get right back to you. Awesome. All right. Well, have a great day. We'll see you next week, Monday, same time, 5 p.m. to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we look forward to talking to you soon. Stay safe and game on. Talk to you later. Bye.